amazing mindset coach. His whole program, Work on Your Game, is one that all of you should be looking at, investing in, and signing up for. With that, Dre, good morning, my brother. The mic is yours.
Good morning, Ramon. Thank you for your beautiful segment. How are you?
Let me get his IG stuff ready, his TikTok, his live streams.
Good morning, Ramon. Can you hear me? I was talking, but I was muted.
Good morning.
Thank you for your segment. How are you?
You know, I'm feeling good, man. I'm sitting here in some jogging pants and a sweatshirt in Pennsylvania, at a college campus, doing some volunteer work, and I like it. It's every year. I've done it for about, as it were, 40 years. You know, I'm a preacher's kid, so I've been in my church for a while and just do a pre-convention setup, with a few thousand people, and we don't outsource it. We kind of do it ourselves, so it's fun. But I'm doing good, man. I'm doing very well.
Excellent. Okay, I'm from Philadelphia. What school are you at?
Well, this is Indiana University.
Yeah, IUP?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
Yeah, I went to school in Altoona, so I'm familiar with IUP. We partied down there. Those stories won't get told on BWC, but yeah, we did. We know a lot of people from there.
Nice. What are you going to talk about today, Dre? Are you going to make us do a survey, a vote again, Dre?
Yes.
Are you going to bring it? You know what you? Oh my God! People, you listen. When Dre does this, can y'all please vote right? Vote the correct way. Don't stuff ballots. Don't bring ballots from somewhere. Don't, Monica, don't try to sway the crowd. David Hill, don't try to, pay people off. Angeline, don't try to, bring the bag of pre-written ballots. Y'all play fair, please. Let's do it right.
Yes, so I will get to that in a second, but I appreciate your segment there, Ramon. I appreciate the transparency and you sharing just how you break down your business, and I think that the audience got a lot of value from that. Let me ask you, Ramon, if you got a second.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think is going to be, as far as you talked about what you're doing with your businesses now in the 4 areas that you broke down? Are you planning on or thinking about adding or subtracting anything moving forward going into next year?
No, I think due to the coaching I've been in, et cetera, even though I am, as it were, I say jokingly, Dre, slightly unfocused, as it were, doing a lot of things, but I must say, talking to Christina offhand, even Dr. Jeannie, they've kind of helped me, hey, Ramon, you're good at what you're doing, but just do it smart. So no, Dre, for me, my celebrity CEO is going to grow. And Zone of Genius, that's my baby. I can see, Dre, that the domain is hot. 1 to 3 years, I do what I'm doing. There's no reason I should sell that for $1 million or more within 1 to 3 years. No reason.
Okay, so Ramon, I got a suggestion for a segment for you. Is this, because when you talk about that, this is something that I have never done, is you buy a domain name, you go build up the website, and then you end up selling it a few years later for a good chunk of change, as you have said. You talked about that multiple times. It sounds so easy, but I know that it's not that easy. I would love for you to give a segment where you just broke down how exactly you do that. How do you make the value of the site go up? What do you do with the site? Like a framework for others to understand when you say you build the site up and make it sellable. What exactly does that mean? You could probably write a whole book about that, I'm sure, and you probably should. But how exactly do you do that? I would love to hear you talk about that one day.
I appreciate that, Dre, and thank you. And Dre, I will do that. And on the upcoming segments, but you have a bit more time, I will do that. And thank you for that advice. Well received. Good point. I will do that because I do have a framework. Yeah, I can do it. How to, the doing it takes longer. But right. Definitely, there is a precise framework of how to do it. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and I appreciate everything you share here normally. And also, Ramon, one more thing I forgot to mention: Dallas. You forgot that we met in Dallas. So I did see you at 10X, but BWC conference.
Yeah, Dre, it's interesting, Dre, how you live what you do. When you talked about, it's not the main stage speakers per se, but I watched you at GrowthCon. You got out of your seat, stood in the aisle, and smiled and greeted a variety of people. You could have been waiting for some BWC people, but I watched how you did what you say. It was just, who can I meet? Who can I shake a hand? Who can I exchange a card with? Who can I add value? I watched you do that, Dre.
Yeah, the last day of GrowthCon in Vegas, I probably shook 100 hands. I talked to a lot of people that day, so I was there to meet the people. That's why I go to conferences, to meet the people. I don't really go to, I know you're a great speaker, Ramon. I don't go there to hear speakers. I go there to meet people. So that's why I go to conferences. That's the investment.
I got you, brother. Can't wait to hear your segment, man. Thanks for being here.
Excellent. Thank you, Ramon. So I appreciate everybody being here, and happy 4th of July weekend, and appreciate all of you for being on here early on a Monday morning. I know some of you are at work anyway. It's kind of funny when they have the holidays that is like on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and then you get the Tuesday off, but then you got to be at work on Friday. or you get the Thursday off, you got to be at work on Friday, you got to go to work today, then we get off tomorrow, then back to work on Wednesday. It makes for a tricky schedule for some of us, I know, but I appreciate those of you who are here early on a Monday morning for Breakfast with Champions. My name is Dre Baldwin. I will introduce myself formally in a second, but before I do that, let's get this voting going. What I usually do here is we break this hour up into two sub segments. One will be personal development for building up you, and the other is going to be professional development for building your business. And we also always start with the personal side because your business cannot grow any further than you personally grow. So we're going to start with the personal side. I'm going to give you two subjects here. You are going to vote in the comments section here on Clubhouse. So in the comments on Clubhouse, and make sure you share the room, by the way. So the comments are down in the bottom left corner where it says 267 right now. Right next to that is that little share button. Please, everybody, share this room right now. I don't care if you share it on Clubhouse. You can share it on Twitter. You can share it on Facebook. You can send a text to one of your friends. You can invite somebody into the room, ping them into the room. Share this room. We want to get this room shared so that we can expand this audience and this conversation that we're having here in Breakfast with Champions so that everybody who wants to get a good breakfast to start their day can get it every single day, because you all know we do this every day starting at 5 in the morning. And oh yeah, if you have not signed up at bwcdaily.com yet to make sure you are getting updates on everything that's happening in the BWC world, please make sure you go do that, because we're here for motivation, education, and inspiration where everyone has a seat at the table. We have plenty of seats here, so make sure you are sharing this room. Everybody who is in this room right now, hit that share button. I don't care where you share it, just share the room. So now, these two topics, and I got so many here. Let me see what we're going to choose from here. All right, number one, and this is going to be personal development. Good news about the personal development subject is you can apply these to business just as well as you apply them to your individual life. All right, so one is going to be the concept of exceptionalism versus execution. That's topic A. That's one option. Exceptionalism versus execution. You'll put the letter E in the chat if you want me to talk about that. Exceptionalism versus execution. And the other one will be how systems and goals work together. You put the letter S for that one. So exceptionalism versus execution, meaning do you need to be exceptional to succeed, or is it just about executing? And the other option is systems and goals working together. They are not diametrically opposed. So put an E for exceptionalism versus execution, put an S for systems versus goals. And go ahead and put that in the chat, whichever one you would like me to talk about. E for exceptionalism execution, S for systems and goals working together. While you all are voting, I will introduce myself. My name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete, author of 33 books, done 4 TED Talks, created this whole brand called Work on Your Game, where we essentially we extract the mental and strategic tools to help athletes get to the top 1% of sports. We apply them to the business world to help professionals like yourselves perform at their highest level, be consistent at doing so, and as a result, you're going to make more money in your business. And what we're about here at Work on Your Game is giving you the material that will help you perform good and do good, not necessarily always make you feel good. I come from the sports world, so this is just the world that I come from. Is not on me, is in me. This is just my style of getting the message out there, and this is what we got to do, and this is what works. All right, it works, and this is why no professional athletes are professional athletes, because we get the material that we need to get to where we got to get to. So let's see what we got here in the comment section. It is E for exceptionalism versus execution. S is for strategies, how systems, and goals work together. Let's see, we got some S's, S, E, S, S, E, 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 S, E, E. Looks like S is winning. So we're going to go with S. Tarika, I see you there. Tarika went hard for the S here. So you all can thank Tarika for really pushing the S here. So we're going to go with the S. And how systems and goals work together is going to be our personal development topic. We're going to take about next 20 minutes on this one. I'm going to open the mic for some conversation on this subject, and then we'll take the second half of this hour segment and we will talk about a professional development topic, and I'll let you vote again at about 1:30 this hour. So let's get into this. Now, when it comes to systems and goals, when you hear, I know we have a lot of professionals here in BWC who like to talk about systems a lot, whether it's a system for how you run your business, a system for how to sell your business, like I just asked Ramon about, and I'm sure he will talk about sometime. And that framework is a form of a system. It sometimes is used synonymously. So there are systems that you can use in running a business. And you think about a company like McDonald's or Walmart, they all have tons of systems. That's why their businesses work so fluidly. And then you also have goals. Goals is usually things that you hear people talk about personally, like you're setting your goals for. I tell people in my audiences, you should be setting goals every single month. You should set goals every week. You should set goals for the year. And goals are the only way you can be successful. Right? You can't score a goal if there's no goal to kick the ball into. You can't score goals in soccer with no net. You can't score in basketball with no basket. Right? So there has to be something to aim at. You can't hit a target. There's no target to aim at. So sometimes people talk about these as if they are diametrically opposed, but I'm going to help you all understand that they are not. Because goals are a target, a destination, such as hitting a bullseye when you're playing darts. Goals are usually measured in black and white, right? Either you have reached the goal or you have not. So if I say my goal is I want to make $10,000 a month, which is a number that I hear very often when I talk to entrepreneurs. I want to make $10,000 a month. So you can measure that. You can look at it and say, all right, how much have I made this month? All right, 9,000. All right, that's not 10,000. Not there yet. We're $1,000 away. You can count. You can look at it in black and white. Either you checked the box or you did not. That's what a goal does. Systems, on the other hand, are about a process, not necessarily about a specific destination. So I could have a goal, for example, to lose 30 pounds. And my system for reaching that goal could be, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, hire a personal trainer, and change the way that I eat. These should be working in unison, not in opposition. So let's talk about how you can take your goals, and everyone listening to this, you should have goals. If you do not have goals and they are not written down, grab a piece of paper or open up a document on your device and write down some goals. Even if you don't know how to write down goals, just write down some goals. What do you want to achieve? Your goals should be operated on via a system. So you want to use a system to get to the goals. Let's talk about it. Point number one. The goal is a specific measurable target, as I just said. So lose 50 pounds, lose 15 pounds within 90 days. So you also want to put a date on your goals. So don't just have a goal to do something, but put a time frame on it. So I want to do this within this amount of time, because time eventually runs out, and every human being in this room, we are all on the clock, as I like to remind my audiences all the time. So your goal could be make $1 million this year. There should be a target that you can measure and a date. All right, a goal needs a target and a date. Everybody got that? Now, goals have value because they create urgency when set properly. I just told you how to set them properly, target and date. They create urgency, and they give us a clear, measurable outcome to aim for. This is what you need. You cannot score without a goal. Now, systems are about a process of action that theoretically, when executed on, will lead to a positive outcome. So the reason why I put that word theoretically in there, this is very important, because we have to make sure we get it right. Because your system could be, I have this goal, I want to lose 15 pounds in 90 days. Your system is, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. But just because you go to the gym 5 days a week doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose that weight. No, because it depends on what you do at the gym. I was at the gym this morning. All right, any of you ever go to the gym? And let me ask this question in the chat. Put the number 1 in the chat. You ever go to the gym and you see somebody in the gym in between their sets, allegedly in between their sets, on the phone, and they are clearly, it's not like they're on the phone checking something real quick, or they're taking notes on how many reps they just did in their last set. No, they're not doing that. They are scrolling Instagram, scrolling through Facebook, checking their email, reading text messages. I mean, you might not be able to see the screen, but you could just tell by the way somebody's looking at their phone that they're kind of bullshitting on the phone in between sets, but they're sitting on some equipment. Any of you ever seen that happen? Somebody taking up space on a piece of equipment, but they are messing around on their phone. Now, back in the day, those of you who are old enough, sometimes I would see people at the gym, they would read the newspaper in between their sets. I don't think anybody reads the newspaper in between sets anymore. Now they look at their phones. But any of you ever seen somebody doing this? Looking at their phone in between sets while occupying equipment? Put the number 1 in the chat. Okay, so a bunch of you have seen this, right? So the whole point is, just because you have the system of going to the gym 5 days a week does not guarantee you're going to hit the goal. So the system is theoretically going to get you the outcome. This is why, and you heard Ramon talk about this in his segment, and you hear many other BWC speakers talk about this. This is why the system matters so much. This is why coaching matters so much. This is why being in masterminds and getting around the right type of people matters so much, because the right type of people and the right coaches, they already have figured out the system to get to the outcome. So if you get with the right person who already has a system, i.e. in this situation, let's say a personal trainer who knows how to help people lose weight, all you had to do is follow that person's system, and you know you're going to get the outcome because you can trust that they know how to produce a result. Whereas looking at the person in the mirror, you probably can't trust yourself to get the result. Because if you could, well, why would you be in a position where you need to lose weight in the first place? Again, let's just call things what they are. So a system theoretically leads to the outcome. It depends on what the system is. So let's say my system is, I want to get more known on the internet. I'll post to social media twice a day, whatever social media platform. Again, these are not diametrically opposed, and they should be used together for creating the success that you want. So in simple terms, you want to have a system that, when executed upon, will help you hit your goal. Good news about systems and goals is that there are people who have already hit your goals, and they have codified systems to help you do the same. Codified simply means they've already mapped out the process, and if you just plug yourself into their process, you'll get the outcome. That's a codified system. If you want to see a live, real life example of a codified system, go to McDonald's. All right, that's a codified system. Anybody can work there. Doesn't matter who you are, as long as you can understand English, you can follow instructions. You can work at McDonald's. The Big Mac and the fries will come out exactly the same, regardless of who's making it. Why? Because the system is doing the work. The human is simply following orders. All right, that's what a codified system looks like. So any of you wants to have a system for anything in life, that's what it should look like. That's the kind of results you want to aim for, to where anybody can jump in, plug in, and get the results. And as a matter of fact, any goal that you wish to hit, anyone who's in this room right now, any goal you have, I guarantee you, there already exists a system for reaching that goal. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. You do not need to figure it out on your own. You could try. It will probably take you longer. You may or may not figure it out. But there's already a system that already exists for you to reach any goal that you want to reach. Your job is to find that system and or get access to that system, and then simply do what the system tells you to do. That's all you got to do. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how systems and goals work together. For me, here's what I do. Any outcome that's happening over and over again in my life, whether it is something I want or something that I don't want, I'm looking at the system that is leading to that outcome, because something has caused this to happen. Anything that I'm getting over and over and over again, if I'm not getting enough sleep over and over and over again, there's some type of system that I'm executing on that's causing that situation. If I'm in great shape, there's some kind of system that's happening there. If I'm getting the right kind of responses to the email that I send out, there's something in that system that is making that work. So I'm always looking either A, to do more of something that I want, or B, to eliminate, change, or alter something that is producing a result that I don't want. And this sounds like a simple idea, but you'd be surprised that some people never even consider this. Look at your life. Everyone listen to me right now. Look at your life and ask yourself, what are the outcomes that I am getting in my life that I want to keep getting? You need to make sure you have it codified. In other words, deconstruct exactly what is leading to that outcome so that you can keep doing it on purpose. Everyone, remember that success happens on purpose. It does not happen on accident. On purpose means there is a clear desire and you are on top of that desire. Successful people stay on top of things, whereas unsuccessful people have things on top of them. So whatever it is that you want and you're getting it, how am I getting it? Why is this happening over and over again? You should know. This should not be luck. It is not happenstance. And anything that you don't want in your life that is happening consistently, ask yourself, what process is leading to this outcome that I don't want happening over and over and over again? I guarantee you there is one. Now, you might not want to, it may be a little bit uncomfortable for you to admit or own up to or look in the face of whatever that process is leading to this unwanted outcome. But because you become aware of it and conscious of it, now you have the power to do something about it. And understand, everybody, that power and responsibility are a package deal. So anytime that you want to change something in life, number one thing you have to do is take responsibility for it, which gives you the ability to respond. And that gives you the power to do something about it. But if you abdicate responsibility, you are ineligible to have power. All right, so all of these work together. So the key here is to accurately identify how certain inputs lead to certain outcomes. This is the key. Let me say that sentence again, because I don't want anybody to miss this. The key is to accurately identify how certain inputs lead to certain outcomes. Why did I say accurately? Because I'll give you an example. Somebody may say, hey, let's say if someone was smoking a cigarette and somebody says to them, hey, you probably shouldn't smoke cigarettes because smoking cigarettes takes years off your life. And they say, well, my grandma smoked cigarettes her whole life and she lived to be 105 years old. See, this is an inaccurate formula, because it's not smoking the cigarettes that let grandma live to be 105 years old. The cigarettes, she lived to 105 despite the cigarettes. It's not accurate to say, well, smoking cigarettes doesn't kill you, obviously, because look at my grandma. No, that's an inaccurate formula. So you must accurately identify how input A led to outcome B. If you get this wrong, you may think that you figured it out, but still end up in the same spot or a worse spot because you inaccurately identified the situation. This is why, again, folks, get around other people who are just as smart as you, maybe smarter than you, or know things that you don't know, or who can see things that you can't see. We call these insights. And around some people who can tell you the truth to your face, and you respect them enough that you'll accept that truth to your face when they give it to you, because they will help you identify what's actually happening as opposed to maybe what your emotions want to tell you is happening. And which is something that human beings, we get really good at that. It's called rationalization. And we want to make sure we stay away from rationalizing, broken down into rational lies that we tend to tell ourselves when we want to make ourselves feel good about something that we probably shouldn't feel too good about. But that's a different subject for a different day. If you get this wrong, you inaccurately identify what's happening, you will end up doing a ton of work that leads you nowhere, or worse, a ton of work that leads you in the wrong direction. So for example, let me give you an example. Let's say you put out a product or a service and it doesn't sell. You release your new course, or you put out your new book, or you put out your new program or your mastermind, or you want to put together an event, and you put it out, you put the link out, you tell your whole audience about it, and it simply does not sell. Nobody buys, or you make fewer sales than you expected. Let's say that. There are many reasons why that product didn't sell. Now, if you focus on and fix, quote unquote, the wrong problem, you will still have the same problem, or worse, you will create new problems that didn't need to be there in the first place. All right, so you got to make sure you're fixing the right things. And when you fix the right things, that's when you'll start to get the outcomes that you want. So a system can be as simple as just identifying the right problem. So some of you may be familiar with there's an old parable that there was this big, actually this might have actually happened. There was a big FedEx warehouse running in Memphis, Tennessee, which I think is where FedEx is based. But at the time of this story, who knows if this is real or not? But there's a big FedEx plant running, and the whole thing shuts down. All these conveyor belts are going. All these people are working, hundreds of men working in the factory. And all of a sudden, all the machines just stop running. Nothing's working. And the manager, the guy who's running the place, he's really anxious because he knows he has to get all these packages out. FedEx is all about get you the package there the next day, guaranteed, or your money back and all that things. And if these machines are not running, they're not going to be able to get any of these packages out. And this guy's career and his job are on the line right now. So they call in some expert guy who's going to come in and fix the machines. So the expert guy comes in, and the person who runs the foreman of the warehouse, he's really anxious and sweating and nervous. Like, is this guy going to be able to fix it? Can he fix it? So the expert guy comes in, and he looks around, he looks at all the machines, he's looking at pieces. It only takes him about 5 minutes. And he finally walks over to one little screw on one of the machines. He pulls out a screwdriver and he tightens the screw. And as soon as he tightens the screw, a second goes by, another second goes by, and then all of a sudden all the machines start working again. Everything starts working again, and all the workers just go right back to work, and everybody's just working and everything's fine. And the foreman of the warehouse walks over to the expert guy who came in and fixed the screw. He says, "Oh man, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for helping me. How much do I owe you?" And the expert says, "You owe me $25,000. And the foreman, he's shocked. He gets sticker shock from the price point. And then he says, "Okay, I'll be happy to pay you $25,000. Just write me out an itemized invoice for why I owe you what I owe you." And the expert says, "Sure, I can write an invoice right now. Just give me a pen and paper." So they bring him a pen and paper, and he writes it down. He says, line item number 1, tightening the screw, $5. Line item number 2, knowing which screw to tighten, $24,995. And he hands the foreman the invoice. And the foreman looks at it, and he smiles. He says, "You're absolutely right." And he pays him his $25,000. Here's the point, folks. Knowing what to fix when something goes wrong, this is a system issue. This is not a hard work issue. It's a system issue. This is why it pays to get around people who know things that you don't know, so you can save yourself the time of trying to figure things out that you don't need to try to figure out. Now, for me, I noticed that when I sleep well, when I get good quality sleep, uninterrupted, 8 hours plus for 3 nights in a row, that third day, my energy is amazing. Whether that's in the boxing gym, whether it's running, whether it's sitting here at this desk working, my energy is great when I get great sleep 3 nights in a row. But if I don't get great sleep 3 nights in a row, my energy is not at its peak potential level. So what's the system? The system is I got to get good sleep on a consistent basis, which backs into I got to make sure I'm ending my work days at the right time. I have a tendency, I don't know if any of you have ever had this happen, I have a tendency to go overtime when it comes to work. And as an entrepreneur, my work is never done. So I have to have the discipline to stop myself when I'm supposed to stop, because the end of my work day goes overtime, then that bleeds into the evening, that bleeds into when I go to sleep, and that bleeds into me not getting enough sleep that night, and then that bleeds into the next day, and then it becomes this cycle. It kind of snowballs. So a system doesn't have to be some super complex thing of a 1,000-page standard operating procedures booklet. It can be as simple as just knowing what is leading to what. Okay. And some systems can be much more complex, such as Amazon's process for getting your packages to you within 2 days, no matter where in the United States you are. The formula for Coca-Cola. The whole purpose of a system is that it is duplicatable, and it's a process that anyone can follow to create a specific outcome. Number 3, let me speed up here. We're talking systems and goals, how they work together. A well-designed and well-executed system will help you reach a logically created goal. So I'll give you another example. I like to run in 10K races. That's about the distance that I find comfortable. I'll run some marathons, but the training for marathons is just takes too much damn time. And 5K is a little bit too short. So I like the 10K is like perfect mid-distance combination of endurance and speed at the same time. And I know how fast I can run a 10K when I'm in ideal shape. So I can look at the field of a competition and come up with a reasonable expectation of where I expect to finish in a race. And usually I finish in the top 3 of my age group. One of my goals this year is I want to come in first place in my age group in 2 10Ks. I already did one, and the next one will be in the fall. They don't have races down here in South Florida. People are, I guess they're scared of the humidity. So in the summertime, there's no races. So everything comes up in the fall. And all I do is look at the results from the previous year's races, and I see where people finished in my age group, and I say, all right, can I beat these guys? And the answer, and I know where I can finish. I got to usually have a reasonable expectation, and usually that's what ends up happening. So if my system lands me, and I don't just pick that goal out of thin air, right? When I say I want to come in first in my age group, it's because I'm looking at the other racers and I say, can I beat these people? And sometimes I get in the race and I'm like, no, I'm not going to beat these guys. I'll probably come in, maybe I'll come in top 10 in this race, but in this one I can come in number 1. So I'm not picking the goal out of thin air. If the results say I can come in top 10, then my goal will be top 10. If the results say top 50, and my goal is top 50. If it says top 1, then my goal is to finish first. So the system produces the goal. And if you don't like the goal or the outcome that's being produced by your system, then you have some choices. You could either change your goals or change your system. So let's say I looked at a race and it said, based on what I know I can do, Dre, based on your numbers, you would probably come in somewhere in the 10 to 15 range in this race. And I don't want to come in the 10 to 15 range. Let's say I'm not happy with that. I don't want to come in 15th place. I want to come in first place. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to change my system. I need to change what I'm doing in my training so that I can run fast enough to come in first place in that race. And looking at the numbers, all right, here's how I got to train. My training has to change to match the outcome that I want to create. And I have to create a system that supports that goal. Everybody understand this? So let me be clear about something that I've been clear about many times before. All right. Changing your system does not necessarily mean you need to figure it out all by yourself. Because again, this can cost you way too much resources that you might not even have. And you still might not even figure it out because you're going off of your own knowledge, and your own knowledge is limited to what you know. This is why you plug into other people's systems. And if you need to, which you should, by the way, use your money to get access to those systems. That's usually the accepted method of barter between human beings is money. All right, I'll give you some money, you give me your knowledge. Every year, I invest tens of thousands of dollars into other people's systems so that I can make more money myself. And I always make more back than I invest. And I think I'm a pretty smart guy. Now, if I did everything myself, I could probably figure a lot of things out on my own eventually. But understanding that my time is finite and understanding that time is more valuable than money, I use money to buy time to get access to systems that will help me achieve my outcomes a lot faster than the trial and error through which I would achieve it doing it on my own. So when you use money to invest in yourself, what you're buying is not knowledge. You are not buying information. You are not buying relationships, even though you may get all those things. What you're buying, ladies and gentlemen, is time. You're buying time. When you pay a personal trainer to help you get in shape, what you're buying is getting in shape in 6 weeks rather than 6 months. When you join a coaching program, what you're buying is getting to your financial goals within the next 6 months instead of taking the next 6 years. What you're buying is the time, the difference between how much long it would take you to do it by yourself versus how long it would take you to do it with someone who already knows what they're doing. And that time is the most valuable resource you have, because how many of you, let me ask a question, put it in the chat, put the number 2 in the chat if you have ever been in a situation in your life at any age in which you ran out of money. Put the number 2 in the chat. Be honest about it. You ever been in a situation where you ran out of money, where you're like, all right, I don't know where the next dollar is going to come from. I don't know if I have any more dollars. Put the number 2 in the chat if you have ever run out of money. If you ever run out of money, put the number 2 in the chat. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of 2s in there. Thank you, everybody who has shared that. Okay. A lot of you have run out of money before. Put the number 2 in the chat if you have ever been number 3 in the chat, excuse me. If you ever been out of energy, you just didn't have any more energy. This could be in the course of a day. It could be long-term, like over the course of months, a year. You just didn't have any more energy. You're like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I need to take a nap. I need to go to sleep. I need to take a break. I need to go on vacation. Put the number 3 if you have ever run out of energy. I remember once I was up from damn near 24 hours straight, and I had a coaching call scheduled because I came back on a flight and I had to get on the coaching call. I'm on a coaching call and I'm like pushing myself to stay awake on this call. I was having like hallucinations while I'm trying to talk to somebody on Zoom. I won't do that again, but put the number 3 in the chat if you have ever run out of energy. Okay. A bunch of you have run out of energy. Okay. Put the number 1 in the chat. Number 4, excuse me. I can get these numbers mixed. Put the number 4 in the chat if you have ever run completely out of time. Now, this is a trick question. Don't put the number 4 in the chat. All right. None of you have ever run out of time. Because if you run out of time, you're dead. All right. Run out of time is called death. All right. All of you have had time. All right. So when you were completely broke and had no money, you still had time. When you were completely devoid of energy and dead tired, you still had time. If you are unable to focus, if you are unable to pay attention, you still have time. Time is the most valuable resource you have. You run out of time, the entire game is over. You run out of anything else, money, energy, attention, or focus. Those are your 5 forms of investment, by the way. Time, money, attention, energy, and focus. You run out of any of those other 4, you're good. You can still play the game. The game is still going. You run out of time, it's over. This is why you should use your money to buy time. And this is how you can plug into the systems that you need to plug into to get to where you want to go. Now, one more point here. I'm running into our professional development topic, but we'll make it. Here's the point number 4. Here's the challenge. When you have goals, but you have no system through which to get there. All right. So this is like if a person makes 50 grand last year, they want to make 5 million this year. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. If you want to make that much more this year than you made last year, that's fine to set that goal. That's your goal. However, do you have the system in place or the changes necessary in place to take your 50K system, because that's what you have, a system to make 50K. Do you have a process to 100x your outcome? If not, then we got to rework the equation. See, just because you have an idea or even a goal, that is not enough if you don't have a system that is designed to create that goal, that outcome. So what is going to help you get to the outcome that you want to get to? If you don't have a process for this, then we have to rethink something. Something in that equation has to change. You remember, algebra back in the days when you were in school, or whatever you do to one side of the equation, you got to do to the other side of the equation. If they don't balance out, then you're going to end up with an incorrect answer. So let's recap these 4 points, and then we'll open this floor for a minute. Then we'll go into our professional development topic. We're talking how systems and goals work together. Number 1, a goal is a specific measurable target, i.e. lose 15 pounds within 90 days. These have value because they create urgency when they're set properly. You need a target and a date, and they give us a clear measurable outcome. Systems, on the other hand, are about a process of action that theoretically will lead to that positive outcome. Number 2, for me, any outcome happening over and over again in your life, whether wanted or unwanted, there is a system that is leading to it. So you need to be asking yourself, how can I replicate this so I can get this outcome over and over again, things you want? Or what do I need to change because I keep getting this thing that I don't want over and over again? Just ask yourself that question with anything that you're doing. That is a system. Number 3, a well-designed and well-executed system can help you reach a logically created goal. And again, anytime you want to change the outcome, you don't like what the system is producing, then you either need to change the goal or you need to change the system. And this is why you invest in other people's systems, because what you are doing is not buying information, folks. You are buying time. And number 4, a problem is when you have goals but no system through which to get there. So if you made 50 grand and now you want to make 5 million, all right, that's 100x difference. All right, what's the difference? What are you going to do different? If you have not changed the system, then you either got to change the goal or you got to get a different system, one or the other. So with all that said, let's open up the floor for like 3 minutes here. Quick shares, 30 seconds apiece, and then we'll move on. Who's that?
Emerald, I just
Hey, Emerald.
Great shares. I would stick to one point, as you said. So I think analysis matters, like what really caused the outcome, because that matters for everything else from that. And that's it. Thanks.
100%. Thank you, Emerald. Anybody else want to share anything on the systems and goals, how they work together? About 30 seconds to share, and then we'll move on to professional development. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, then let's get into our second part of our time here. Who is that? Somebody unmute? Unmic?
Yeah, this is Linnell Burns.
Hey, Linnell, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Excellent.
Awesome. Just wanted to ask in regards to time, money, attention, and focus. You said something
And energy.
in regards to that. What was it? I missed it when you said that. 5
forms of investment: time, money, attention, energy, and focus.
Thank you.
And time is worth 50%, 60%. The other 4 are, is my math right? Yeah, the other 4 are 10% each. Right. So time is 60%. Money, attention, energy, and focus are worth 10% each. That all adds up to 100. Time is the most valuable resource by far. Thank you for the question. Okay. All right. Now we good on that. Let's get to our second half here, and we're going to talk professional development. And everything I told you there on that first segment, you could apply to your business as well as to your personal life. Hopefully you all caught that. So we got 2 topics here. All right, let's go with these 2. So one is how to get in the back door. All right, you're trying to make something happen and the normal way, quote unquote, of doing it is not working for you. How can you get in the back door? Put the letter B for how to get in the back door. And the other one is how to pitch, P-I-T-C-H, pitch anything. That means if you are selling something, if you are trying to land a speaking gig, you're trying to sign a coaching client, you're trying to get yourself booked on stage to do a TED Talk. How do you pitch anything? So P for pitch anything, B for how to get in the back door. And I'll give you all a few seconds to vote. You're voting in the comment section, by the way, on Clubhouse. So just go to the comments there where it says 364 right now. B for how to get in the back door. The normal way of doing things is not working for you. It has not worked. You've been trying, but it's not working. Or you're not sure you'll be able to get in the normal way. How can you get in the back door? Or P, how to pitch anything. You're trying to sell yourself. You're trying to sell your product. You're trying to sell an opportunity. You're trying to sell your offer that you have created. How do you actually pitch it and get people to see the value in it and want it? Put the letter P for how to pitch anything. So we got B for backdoor, P for pitch. All right, let's see. So we got pitch. So we got a lot of P's. All right, so P has won on this one. So, all right, we are going to get into how to pitch anything. Thank you for the votes, everybody. Let me just pull that up, and we got a little over 20 minutes here. Let's get to it. So how to pitch anything. Now, since we all know, and this is professional development, by the way. So since we all know that we are in the sales business, every one of us is in the sales business. Even if you have a job, you are in the sales business because you have to sell yourself to get the job. You got to sell yourself to keep the job. And if you plan on leaving that job, and these days people are going into multiple different companies, working in multiple different industries, even completely different careers in their lifespans because we're living a lot longer, you will have to sell yourself again at some point in your career. Since we're all in sales, your ability to pitch and sell and thus move others to action on anything is a very important aspect of your ability to advance, move forward, to create and sustain momentum and get what you want in life, period. All right, sales is about getting what you want. That's all it is. It's influence and persuasion. So let's talk about a framework for how to pitch anything, including yourself. All right, you can use this to sell yourself just as well as you can use it to sell a product or service. So don't limit this to just thinking about selling a book or a course or something like that. You can use this to sell you because people are looking at and thinking about whether they want to buy you too. Number 1, create and hold the frame of the topic. Creating and holding the frame. So framing in a conversation does not have to be some complicated thing. Framing is simply you establishing, here's what this conversation is about, and here's why I'm taking your time to talk about it. All right, that's framing. That's it. We are here. I can say something like, we're here at Breakfast with Champions. My name is Dre Baldwin. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete. I created this thing called Work on Your Game. And what we talk about here is taking the tools from the sports world and applying them to the business world. There, I just framed for you what I'm about and giving you an idea of the angle from which I'm going to approach my conversations. That is a frame. It can be that simple. Now, this is what you need to be doing in any conversation that you're having, especially when you're looking to persuade or influence another person. Because if they don't understand when they understand what the frame is, they are better prepared for whatever it is that is coming next. So I'll give you an example. If I'm selling vacuum cleaners door to door and I knock on your door, when you answer the door, the first thing I'm going to say is, hey, my name is Dre and I'm here to sell you this vacuum cleaner. Now, I may not say it in so many words, but that's the frame that I want to establish. I want to tell you who I am. I want maybe even let you know, I know you don't know me. I know you weren't expecting me, but here's why I'm here. I'm here because of this. All right, that's the frame. That's me just letting you know who I am and what I'm about. That is a form of framing. Now, framing is usually the first thing you want to do in a conversation, again, so people know why you are taking their time and what it is that you want. Who are you? Why are you here? What do you want? Those are the first three things anybody is thinking when you approach them if they didn't come to you, especially if you are unexpected. Who are you? Why are you here? What do you want? All right, those are the three things people want to know. Do not waste time with anything other than establishing this frame in any sales conversation you're going to be having. If you're not sure what you want, you can't communicate it. So you need to know, what exactly am I selling here? And again, it could be you. Number 2, we are talking how to pitch anything. Number 2, get to the point. Get to the point. The point is what the other person gets out of the conversation and out of their possible cooperation with you. And you want to get to the point as quickly as possible. Again, do not waste time with too much formalities, especially if the person has no idea who you are. So if you are doing any type of cold approach, cold calling, door knocking, approaching people on the street who don't know you, you need to quickly get to the point, because they're only going to give you a split second of their attention before they're like, okay, I don't want to hear what this person has to say anymore. You're taking too much time, asking too many questions. You need to get right to it. And these are things that their entire industry is built around, helping people understand how to do this as quickly as possible, because you got to grab people's attention. So if you're ever you ever been in the mall, and put the number 5 in the chat, you ever seen this? When you're walking around the mall and there's those people with the kiosks that are like in the middle of the aisle, and they might be selling lotion, or they have some kind of tchotchkes or some kind of toys or something like that. And as you walk by, the girl or the guy, they say something to every person who walks by and they try to stop you. Put the number 5 in the chat. You ever had that person try to stop you while you're walking through the mall? And put the number 5, actually, if you ever stop and talk to them. Any ever stop and talk to them? Any ever bought anything from one of those people? Put in the chat if you ever bought something from there. I think I have one time. And they'll try to stop you and they'll try to show you what the thing is. It might be a little toy or maybe a little gadget. Back in the days, they don't do this anymore, but back in the days, the cell phone guys used to do this. Y'all remember when the cell phone guys did this? They would be at the AT&T stand or the T-Mobile stand. And then when you were walking by, they'd say, hey, what kind of phone you got? And they try to sell you on their phone, whatever the phone was. But the whole point is they were getting to the point. All right. So when you're walking by and that guy says, hey, what kind of phone you got? All right, you already know what he framed the conversation just by asking that question. What kind of phone you have? He's finding out what you have so that he can possibly pitch you on getting something better. And if you don't like your phone, or you don't like your plan, or you don't like that you don't get free nights and weekends, remember those? Then you would probably stop and see what that guy has to say, and he might be able to sell you a phone. But that was planned. That wasn't something that they just randomly did. Well, some of them did it randomly, but ideally that's planned, and that should be taught. Probably was taught through the companies. I never worked at a phone company, but I bet they taught those kind of things back then. I don't know what they do now with the phone companies. I think they do it mostly on the internet. But the whole point is, you want to get to the point. Get to the point as quickly as possible. Again, remember the 3 questions. Who are you? Why are you stopping me? And what do you want? These are the 3 things everybody wants to know when they are being sold anything. And again, don't look at this as a negative thing. People like to buy. All right, America is a consumer culture. All right, look at all the holidays that we have and how we turn them from their original meanings into consumerism. That's basically what we turn. Look at Christmas. What's Christmas supposed to be about as opposed to what it's actually about in America? It's all about buying stuff. We are a culture of consumers. So you can sell. You just need to be clear that you're selling and be honest about it. And there are people who will reward you for it by buying from you. But you got to get to the point. What are you here for? Who are you? Why are you stopping me? What do you want? Or why are you calling me, texting me, emailing me, whatever? What do you want? All right. You need to make sure the other person knows that whatever you are saying is about what they will get, not what you will get. This is a simple shift in mindset that will help any salesperson in any realm. What are they going to get out of this conversation? What do I get from agreeing with you, accepting what you're selling, listening to what you have to say, buying your thing, scheduling a Zoom call with you, whatever it is that they're asking? What am I going to get out of this? And that's how you need to frame it. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do it, but you need to be upfront and clear about what it is. And you look at your results. Again, go back to what we talked about in the previous section. Look at the results that you're getting. If you don't like this outcome, then we need to change something about the system. Maybe it's what you're saying. Maybe it's how you're saying it. Maybe it's who you're talking to. It could be any one of these variables, but you keep making the necessary changes, you'll get the outcome. And this is the trial and error process. You could also do this much faster. Go find someone who's already figured out how to do it and just let them tell you what to do different. So remember that the other person that you're selling to doesn't care about what you get. It may flash through their mind. They may consider it, but do they really care? No. What they care about is what they get. Most people who are experienced in giving and receiving pitches will be able to read between the lines of what you get anyway. You don't have to express it. If they don't understand, they will ask. If they want to know, they'll ask. Most of the time, they won't. Now, again, with people you're talking to, it doesn't really matter about your thing and your outcome. You have it in the back of your mind. Of course, that's why you're in sales, right? You want to make the money, but it's not really about that. It's about what they're going to get. All you need to do to frame the conversation is about what they get. So you can say something like, hey, how would you like to have free nights and weekends on your phone? You got free nights and weekends. You got 1,000 texts or more a month. All right, how much you paying for data? All right, those are all things that are framing the conversation around what you get, not what I get. And again, these are very simple examples, but sometimes the simplest approach might be the easiest approach if you're talking to the right person. If you have a dog owner who has poop stains in their carpet, hey, have you been able to get those poop stains out of your carpet? That could be your email. All right, that could be the headline of your email. The dog owner with poop stains in their carpet will respond to that email. Why? Because they got that issue. So sometimes the framing is a very simple thing. It doesn't have to be this complex thing. Although you need to be clear with yourself in your own mind what you're getting out of it. You don't have to tell them this, but you need to be clear what you get. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Now, you won't have the motivation and drive to deal with the people hanging up on you and not listening to you if you don't have a clear outcome of what you're getting in the process. And number 3, how to pitch anything. Have a clear call to action. A clear call to action. Now, this is specifically when you are in control of the process. Basically, you're out there setting up your own pitch. Now, if you're selling something for someone, let's say if you're selling for, using the cell phone example here since I started with it, if you're selling for T-Mobile, T-Mobile already has the call to action. They'll tell you what to do. They'll tell you what to say next. But if you are selling your own thing, let's say via email marketing, or you're doing an Instagram ad, or an ad on YouTube, or you're DMing people on LinkedIn, or anything like that, you need to be clear what your call to action is. In other words, telling the person who you're talking to what I want you to do as a result of my message. All right. Would you schedule a Zoom call with me through my Calendly link right here? All right. You can click this button and you can buy this book for $25.99. If you tap this link right here, you can send me a text message and start a conversation with our chat bot. They probably won't call it that, but it's usually what it is. Having a clear call to action. What do you want me to do? So here's question number 4. All right, so let's go back to our questions here for any pitch. Who are you? Why are you interrupting me with your conversation? What do you want? What do you want me to do? Now, in between number 3 and number 4 is you actually giving the message. If you are able to buy their time. The first 3 questions buys time. Now, if they are open to you talking, then you give your message, whatever it happens to be. That's 3.5. And then point number 4 is, what do you want me to do? What do I do next? All right, I'll give you $10. I get this tchotchke that you're selling me in the mall, this dog that barks and walks around in a circle every 10 seconds. Okay, $10, got it. All right, that means what do you want the other person to do? And what needs to happen in order for you and the other person to move forward if they're interested in your proposition? What do they need to do? Do you want them to schedule a call with you? Do you want them to give you some money right now? They need to go get somebody else and bring them into the conversation? Do they need to go call their husband or wife and make sure you talk to both of them at the same time? What is the ask Ask. What are you asking for? Many salespeople fail at this point, believe it or not, because they fear either rejection, they fear asking for something, or maybe you believe that, or you don't believe that you are worthy of whatever it is that you're asking for, or some combination of all three. What causes people to not have a clear call to action is they don't want to ask, they don't want to be rejected, or you don't see the value in what you're asking for, so you're not willing to actually ask for it. So then you end up not making the ask, and you become, as Zig Ziglar used to say, a professional visitor instead of a professional salesperson. All right, if you're just making visits, you're a professional conversationalist, but you're not actually making the ask and asking for the sale, then you can't make any sales. Usually people are not going to buy from you if you don't ask them to give you money. So these are the three high-level pieces that you need to make any pitch. Now, anything that you're selling, again, it depends on who you're selling to, what you're selling, and in what medium you're selling. Are you doing this online? Are you doing it offline? Is it written? Is it spoken? Is it video? Is it textual? How are you selling? There can be a lot of different details to this. So I kept this high level, again, these 3 points. But let me recap them real quick, and then we'll open the floor up. And maybe if any of you have a specific example or a specific area where you're challenged to pitch or sell your thing, maybe we could go into that. We got about 8 minutes here. So how to pitch anything. Number one, create and hold the frame of the topic. The frame, again, can be very, very simple. Hi, my name is Dre. I'm here to sell you a vacuum cleaner. That is a frame. All right, just telling people who you are, why you're here, and what you want. I did that all in that one sentence. It can be very simple. Number two, get to the point. What is the point? It is what the other person gets out of the conversation. It's what the other person gets out of the conversation. Keep the conversation about them. Use the word you, Y-O-U, a lot. Do not use the word I too much. Number three, have a clear call to action. What is it that you want them to do? What do they need to do next if they are interested in your proposition? Do they schedule a call? Do they click a link? Do they give you money? Do they join your membership? Do they need to go call their husband or wife? What is it you want them to do? It needs to be very, very clear what the call to action is, because if someone's interested in taking action, you better catch them while they're ready to take action. Because if you allow them to cool off, they cool off, and then you end up losing the sale, whatever it happens to be. So let's open the floor up here. And anyone have a question, comment, or example here on this subject? Go ahead. Who's that?
I do, Dr. Emerald.
Emma, you are the fastest to unmute, I think, in the history of Clubhouse.
Because there's nobody here. Everybody else is asleep. So yes, it's fantastic.
Go ahead.
Yes, so all that you shared is relevant. So it's actually not only for sales, but for medicine. So many times we have a meeting with somebody who either like, I want to meet with somebody above me, or someone wants to meet with me, and keeping it short and concise is great, because oftentimes it's like, well, what is your ask? Like, you're telling me all this other stuff and my time is valuable. So what do you want? So right. And then also framing it in like, well, what matters to me, or me framing in what matters to you if I'm trying to sell to you. So I think that's the most important. So thank you.
100%. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I like that you have an application in the medical world as well, because again, we're all salespeople. We're all selling something every single day. You put on makeup, you got dressed, you brushed your hair today, you washed your face, you're selling something, whether you believe it or not. So I appreciate that, Dr. Emerald. Who else has a question, comment, ask, share, or example that maybe we can go into detail on how you would pitch your thing in your career, life, or business? Mic's open. Counting down from 5, 4.
Good morning, Dre.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Who's this?
Dre. This is Tanya.
Hey, Tanya. Good morning.
Thank you so much good morning for such an amazing segment. You know, when you said get to the point, that's big. You know, sometimes we're introducing a product or business to an individual, and sometimes we keep talking about ourselves. But if we change the whole conversation and focus on the person in front of us and using the word you, that makes a big difference. So thank you so much for such an amazing tip. I'm Tanya, and I like my plane.
100%. Thank you, Tanya. And absolutely keeping the conversation focused on the other person. Every human being's favorite word is their own name. So the better you can use that and keep the conversation focused on them, the more you'll keep their attention. When you have their attention, you have the possibility of getting their money. You don't have their attention, you can't make money from them. As a salesperson, that's your mindset. Okay. Thank you, Tanya. So mic is still open here. We got about 5 minutes here. Now I'm leaving space here, folks. Now, I don't always leave space. So the more you engage, the more likely I am to leave space in the future for more conversation. But I could fill this space with more content. But the mic is open. We are talking about how to pitch anything, how to sell anything, selling yourself, having that sales conversation. And again, it doesn't have to be a conversation where you're asking for money. Just you're looking to influence or persuade a person. Questions, comments?
Dre, I do have a question. It's Tanya again.
Well, Tanya then David. Go ahead, Tanya.
You said clear call to action. What exactly are we narrowing into when you say clear call to action?
Clear call to action means telling the person, uncovering to the person you're talking to, what is it that they would need to do if they're interested in whatever it is that you're offering. So if I said something like, if I send an email to my list today and I say, hey, I wrote this book called The Mirror of Motivation, and I tell them all about the book, and I tell them how great the book is, Tanya, somewhere in that email, probably multiple times in that email, I need to tell them, okay, you want this book, right? Click this link right here and click the order button. That's a call to action. I am telling them what action to take. You have to tell people what to do. So never overestimate the intelligence of your audience. And that could be you talking to one person, you could be talking to 1,000. Do not expect or assume that they know what to do. You have to tell them clearly, do this, then do this, then do this. Make it as simple as possible, but make sure it is clear and that they know exactly what they're supposed to do. You have to tell them. And human beings are very good at following directions. We've been following directions our whole lives. So if you give them directions, they usually will follow them. Does that answer your question, Tanya?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dre.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, David.
Hey, it was good to hear you this morning, my man.
Appreciate you.
I don't always get to pop in at this time, but I did take today off. So,
perfect.
chill.
Glad you did.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And I really appreciated what you said about the, when you're meeting people and you're just transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a huge mistake we see a lot of salespeople make. You tell them exactly, like you nailed it. You tell them exactly what your intention is, why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And people appreciate that, especially now, Dre, with so much with deep fakes and just so many people. Just trust has gone so low now. It's like when you're authentic with people and transparent, it goes so far. So just wanted to acknowledge on that, my man. Have a good holiday, by the way.
100%. Thank you, David. Appreciate you. I know you're a sales guy yourself, so I appreciate you. And David will be up in about after Angeline. I think David comes up for an hour after her. So the next 90 minutes, you all who are here, make sure you stick around because there's more heat coming here at BWC. Angeline Moore next, and then David Hill right after that. So you all are in for a treat. Even on a holiday, I guess we call this a holiday weekend, even though I know some of us are at work today. All right, mic is still open. We got 1 minute left. We got time for probably one more share. Hey, who's that?
Thank you, Dre. It's Professor Chris.
Hey,
out of London, England.
Good morning, Professor Chris. Afternoon to you.
Thank you for your emphasis on the call to action. I'll tell you what we did. We put out a book, and on the page 2 of the book, we put a call to action, and the book went on Amazon.
Right.
Guess what happened?
What happened?
Everyone that read the title of the book clicked on that link without even buying the book.
Boom, there you go.
When we did a survey on how many people bought the book, we were shocked that less than 30 people bought the book, and everybody bought the click.
Yeah.
And then bought the seminar. So I love the way you put that call to action. Click here. That's the one.
That's right.
Click here is so easy for them to do. I salute you. Thank you.
All right. And you know what, Professor Chris, I think Amazon's going to catch on to that. They're going to stop letting people do that. So good thing you went and got your nut out of that before they catch it. they're gonna change the algorithm, not let people do that anymore. But I appreciate you sharing that, Professor Chris. And I thank everybody for your time and attention here. It is now 9 a.m. on the dot. I am passing the mic to Miss Angeline Moore. Good morning.
Good morning, Dre. What an amazing segment as always. Everyone, unmute. Give it up for Dre Baldwin. Dre all day. If you have not tapped into his daily